Welcome back to the channel. My name's John, and it's time for a brief update on the criminal prosecution surrounding the Rust movie set. That's right, it's mid-May, and we're talking about Hannah Gutierrez and Alec Baldwin again. In the matter of the state of New Mexico versus Hannah Gutierrez, the defense has filed a motion for release pending appeal. Now, that's in addition to a previously filed post-conviction motion on the jury instructions. Her attorney argues that, quote, if her appeal is successful, she will have served most or all of her sentence anyway, rendering a large part of the appeal meaningless. She is not a danger to the community or a flight risk, end quote. While I don't disagree with those statements, it's essentially the same position that her attorney took at the time the jury returned its verdict. He just formalized the filing with the court along with her request for appeal. Probably a nothing burger, but we'll continue to watch. Meanwhile, Alec Baldwin's attorneys have been very busy. They have filed several motions to dismiss. These allegations range from the state's destruction of evidence and a failure to allege a criminal offense. The evidence issue they raise pertains to the destructive testing that performed on the firearm by the FBI. It's ironic because those tests were done specifically to refute Baldwin's public claim that the gun was capable of firing without him pulling the trigger. Buddy, you can't wield the issue as both a sword and a shield. Failing to allege a criminal offense is almost more laughable. The defense still maintains, quote, Alec Baldwin could not have been aware of a substantial risk that his alleged actions could cause the death of Helena Hutchins because he had no reason to believe the firearm contained live ammunition, end quote. A hearing has been scheduled on these motions for Friday, May 17th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and it will be broadcast on the New Mexico Court's YouTube channel. In a previous video, I mentioned the Screen Actors Guild and their safety bulletins. That's a topic that came up throughout Hannah's trial, but I sincerely hope it plays a more central role in Alec Baldwin's trial this summer. Why? Because it refutes the actor's multiple and repeated claims that safety was someone else's job. In fact, he would have us believe that movie sets are a fantasy land where laws and common sense are somehow suspended. Let's take a look. From the very beginning, the Screen Actors Guild document says, quote, as an actor, you are ultimately responsible for your own safety and the safety of your fellow cast members, end quote. Section 11 of that document deals with firearms and weapons, and it says, treat all weapons as though they are loaded and or ready to use. Do not play with weapons and never point one at anyone, including yourself. It goes on to say that anyone that will be using a weapon shall know all the operating features and safety devices. And it doesn't end there. The document reminds actors that any object at which you point a firearm could be destroyed. It tells them to never place their finger on the trigger until you are ready to fire and to know where and what your intended target is. Now, to anyone who has received basic firearm safety training, all of these points are going to seem very familiar. They are the pillars of firearm safety. Full stop. But when Alec Baldwin was interviewed on television about the firearm training he received from Hannah, he chose to frame his answers like an actor. He spoke about the need to create the illusion of having fired by generating your own recoil. The prosecution needs to take this situation off the movie set and place it in the real world. For the jury, imagine you and I are standing at a gun range. I load a revolver, hand it to you, and tell you that I loaded it with blanks. You then take that same gun, cock the hammer, point it directly at another human being, and pull the trigger. The gun goes off. It was a live round. The person you shot is dead. Do you think an I didn't know defense or a he told me it was loaded with blanks defense is going to absolve you of criminal liability? Of course not. That's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous when Alec Baldwin and his attorneys assert the same idea. So tune in Friday. We'll see what the New Mexico court judge has to say about these motions to dismiss. And if you got anything out of this video, please like and subscribe. We're going to have more great content coming up in the very near future. Thanks for watching.